Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when we would be the ones to get to answer these questions.
This is episode 113, 10 Things You Didn't Know You Could Ask a Cast Member.
Or, if you're asking where to find Harry Potter, you might not get the answer you're expecting.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure.
We call it Epcot.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 113 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're going to be talking about 10 things that you didn't know you could ask a cast member.
We usually do 7 things when we number stuff, just because that's kind of where we land, but we just couldn't stop at 7. There are 10 that we need to talk about.
Well, there's going to be a whole bunch more that I'm sure we probably come up with as we're talking about this. We even came up with 8 things that you can't ask a cast member, so we'll talk about that at the end.
Sometimes that's just as important to know.
Oh, definitely.
Some of this is going to be basic knowledge, I think, things that you probably do know you can ask a cast member, though we hope to go beyond some of the basic stuff. For instance, you probably all know that you can ask a cast member to take your picture. Any cast member. It doesn't have to be a photo pass. You can ask any cast member at any time to take your picture. We are trained from day one that if anyone looks like they are struggling with the camera, that you stop and you help them. So that is one of the things not on our list that hopefully you already know. We're going to go a little bit deeper.
Well, and all you ex-cast members out there, or even current cast members, when you're in the park, do people ask you to still take their picture? Because that seems to happen to Sue and I every time we go to Disney World or Disneyland, or even like Six Flags. It's weird. We just have that cast member look still, I guess. I don't know.
It is funny. We could be walking in a sea of people, and people will stop and ask us questions, how to take their picture or how to get somewhere. And it's like, do we just like have the stamp on our forehead or something that owned by Disney? I don't know.
Well, I've even had people say, "You work here, right?" I just look like a cast member.
Is it the 2-finger point? Did you see the 2-finger point?
Or the line of people asking us other questions, yeah. Well, let's jump right in and talk about the 10 things that you didn't know you could ask a cast member. So, Sue, this was your idea. So why don't you start with number 1?
Number 1 is a great one to know on literally anything you're going to do in the park, and that is you can ask for a specific seat on an attraction. This is if you on a roller coaster and you really want that front car view, you can ask for that. If you really want to sit in the back or it's a little bit of a wilder ride, you can ask for that. If you are in line for, I was going to say Alice in Wonderland at Disneyland, let's take to Disney World.
Yeah, that applies to Disneyland too, in a lot of ways.
It can apply to Disney World, but the first thing that came to my head was Disneyland, because if you really want to ride in a pink Caterpillar, you can ask to wait for a pink Caterpillar. Now, some of these things aren't going to affect your ride, like riding in a different color vehicle. And some of them certainly will affect the ride experience that you have, like asking for row 4 on Guardians of the Galaxy, where it tends to be a little bit milder of a ride. So absolutely, feel free to ask that cast member if you can be put in a certain row or in a certain vehicle. And when you want to do that is when they ask you how many are in your party. And you tell them how many are in your party, and because you know that offhand, you don't have to stop and count. You're a good guest. And then you tell them at that point, hey, would you mind if we waited for the front car? Now, there may be an additional wait. You may have to wait through a couple cycles while they're doing that. But that is your chance to ask for that. So always keep that in mind. Now, there are certain situations when it is not going to matter one iota what car you're in. Rod, give us an example.
Well, I had a kid and a dad come up to me at Haunted Mansion one day, and I'm just walking the belt, watching people load, and the kid goes, "Dad, I want to sit in the front seat on the Haunted Mansion." Yeah, there is. I tried to explain. It's like a big bicycle chain. They're all just connected. It's like, can you just let him sit in car number 1? Sure. There's 131 cars. We're at car 40, and your kid wants to be in car number 1 to be in the front seat of the Haunted Mansion. Okay, sure. We'll go right ahead.
Enjoy that wait.
Enjoy the wait. Yeah, I allowed it to happen, and they were happy as punch, but weird. Yeah.
Very,
Sometimes
very odd request.
Sometimes it just doesn't really do what you think it's going to. Well, number 2, you can ask for a specific area of a hotel or restaurant. Now, when you're booking your hotels, you've probably seen where it says resort view or Savannah view or water view or pool view. Within those designations, though, there's still additional locations that you can ask for. So at Port Orleans Riverside, for instance, if you're staying in Alligator Bayou, you may have a water view, but you want to stay in a specific building because that's where you stayed when you were a kid. Coronado Springs is a great example of that same thing, or Caribbean Beach, where you have a lot of the same classification of room, but the difference in the buildings can make a big difference. Now, if you see one that says when you're booking preferred, that means they're going to be closer to the main building. You generally have to pay extra for that. So sometimes a cast member, though, can work a little magic if you just innocently ask for it. Don't demand it. Don't say, hey, I booked the lowest class room, but I want the highest class room in the tower at Coronado. That's not going to happen. That's a magical moment. You can't ask.
Wait, that's spoilers.
Oh, right. Okay, well, that might be something you can't ask for. You'll have to stick around to find out.
Another example is if you are wanting a certain floor of a hotel. You want to stay on floor number 7, or you want to stay closer to the Skyliner, or you want to be closer to where you parked your car, or where you know you can park your car. Those are all examples of things you can ask for that aren't going to change the class of room that you're in, that aren't going to incur an additional payment. So just keep those things in mind. You are free to ask for what you want.
Restaurants are the same way. If you have a specific station you want to sit in, so you have a view of outside rather than inside, or a better view of the screen, for instance, at the Sci-Fi Dine-In at Hollywood Studios. You can ask for a specific car if you want to. Now, again, you may have to wait a little longer because you have to wait for that car to clear up, but that is something you can ask for. Another thing to go with the restaurants, too, that I just thought of, you can ask for an allergy expert. And
Yes.
This is something that's really important. Even the walk-up restaurants will have a book or a menu of allergy-friendly things. But if you want to speak to somebody who actually makes the food or knows about the food and how it's made, you can ask a cast member, and they will either have a book that has information, a phone number that they and you can call to talk to somebody, or if it's a bigger restaurant, the chef or an allergy expert will be there to come out and talk to you. This is very important if you or anybody in your party has food allergies.
And that can be for any allergy at all. If you're scrolling through the menu on the app and you see the areas where it lists a gluten allergy or it lists a dairy allergy, those are sometimes listed there. But if you are very specifically allergic to like pistachios and you see that nuts are involved in any way, you can ask very specific questions to make sure that you are going to be safe. And you can make preferential requests as well. An example is we were at Food and Wine Festival a couple years back. I wanted to try one of the ingredients and not the entire dish. We don't enjoy veal, and the dish included veal. I wanted to try the accompaniments that it came with. And the cast member asked me to be very specific and say, is this for a preference or is this for an allergy? And I said, it's just preferential. And she said, that's great. If it's an allergy, we can call someone over so that you can talk to them. So that was very important to know. Now, they can't accommodate all preferences, of course, but if you're just asking to leave something off a dish, they can do that. And again, there will be an additional wait for those kinds of requests. Moving on to number 3, you can ask to have packages shipped to your home. There are stipulations, of course. It's not going to be for free. You are going to pay for that package, but it has to be non-perishable items. You can't be buying a popcorn bucket and ship your popcorn home. You can't
ship
Mickey
your
bars.
leftovers home from the restaurant. People have tried that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no Mickey bars.
No Mickey bars.
No balloons.
Yeah, right. And you do have to have the receipt. This is very important because if you are collecting items that then have shipped from your hotel later, you can do that, but you have to have each and every receipt for each and every item that's going to go in that box. And you can't just ship home random stuff that was in your room. Like you're going to ship home your dirty clothes. They're not going to do that for you. You have to have the receipt for those items, and it has to be items that you purchased there.
Now, at the 3 main convention hotels that you find on property, that's going to be the Contemporary, the Coronado, and the Swan and Dolphin. There are shipping facilities there for either UPS or FedEx that you can ship stuff home, and you can also find these out in Kissimmee. So there are other options besides if you do want to ship your clothes home.
Right. If you've just overpacked and you need to get rid of some stuff to fit those extra mugs that you bought. Is that just me? Is that just me?
No. Number 4, you can ask the backstory of the attraction or the location you're in. Imagineering does a fantastic job with the theming, but beyond the theming, there's a whole storyline that goes with everything, including some of the restrooms. So you can ask cast members, what is the backstory about the Haunted Mansion, about Pirates of the Caribbean, about Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain? They all have backstories, and the cast members are taught this information when they're doing their attractions or location, if it's a restaurant, training. And so usually they will know, or if not, they can find out for you very quickly. And it's really fun, some of the stuff that, as a cast member, I used to love talking about the Haunted Mansion. And even the Country Bear Jamboree. The Bear Band has its own backstory, as could be seen in the movie. Although I think that movie was actually written not from the backstory. I think that was an additional in-canon story, as they would say.
Another really fun place to do that is over in Animal Kingdom. If you, for instance, are in Pandora, but you have never seen the movie Avatar, it is a beautiful, beautiful land, and you may not know the story behind it. Ask any cast member there. Batuu is another really fun one because those cast members are in character. It is so much fun. They have their own greetings. They have their own goodbyes. They have their own language. It's so much fun to ask about their backstory. If you don't want to know about the history of Batuu or Black Spire Outpost, ask them their story because they have their own backstory. Every cast member in Batuu. But that is a really, really fun activity, especially if you're just hanging out waiting in line or something. Number 5. Halfway there already. Number 5. Speaking of the Haunted Mansion, a really fun thing you can do is you can ask for the name of the bat on the hat of the cast members at the Haunted Mansion. They have bats on their, I don't even know what to call them, their headdress piece.
Doily?
Their little maid
head
uniform.
Yeah, and this is the female cast members
yes,
there. Yes,
specifically the females, yes. So they all have a bat. Every single bat has a name, and they've all named them. You can ask for their bat's name, their bat's story. They usually have a little story to go with the personality of the bat. It is so much fun, and every single one of them has one, so don't miss out on this opportunity. It's a good time.
Number 6, you can ask when and where to find a specific character. Now, in the past, you could ask a cast member this, but recently this was added to the My Disney Experience, Walt Disney World, and Disneyland apps. So you can look up the time and location of characters within the theme park you're in and find out where to meet them and a lot of times how long the wait time is.
Now, Disneyland is a little bit different on this one because some of their characters are wandering. They're not just meet and greet. You'll be walking through Fantasyland and suddenly you're face to face with the stepsisters and they are just out because they are in Fantasyland. It wasn't a planned meet and greet. They're just out and about having a good time.
One of my favorite stories about that is when I was working there in merchandise, walking to my location, I saw in Fantasyland Geppetto and heard a little kid ask his dad, "Hey, Dad, who is that?" And the dad just looks up and keeps walking and goes, "I don't know, but that's what you're going to look like if you ever start taking drugs." So,
true story.
Poor Geppetto. Yeah. Never thought of him as a druggie, but no, weird.
Probably not.
He did talk to wooden creatures, so, maybe so. I don't know.
Who knows? The one caveat on that one is if you do not see the character that you most want to meet or your child most wants to meet in the app, still ask a cast member. They may know, hey, that character appears in this cavalcade that is going to be at this time on Main Street, or that character is part of the nighttime show. So always ask if you don't see what you are wanting to see. Number 7, you can ask for a rider's switch pass, even if it's not your child who is not able to ride. So if you have someone, say your whole party wants to go on Space Mountain, but Grandma doesn't.
No, or
Uncle Rod.
Yeah, Uncle Rod.
Doesn't want to ride Space Mountain. So you can ask for a rider's switch pass so that someone can wait out with Uncle Rod or Grandma or baby Tommy who doesn't want to go on the ride or can't go on the ride. And then that person can go back on with the rider switch pass so that they don't have to ride by themselves. They can bring someone with them. So someone can ride twice and everyone who wants to can ride once. It's a really good system. A lot of people know that this exists for baby switch, for baby swap. so that when there's an infant or a toddler who is literally not allowed to ride, both parents are able to go on. However, you can use this for anyone in your party. So it's a really good thing to keep in mind if you do have someone who's not quite so into the rides.
Number 8, and this is for the kiddos that are out there. If your parents ever get lost, because you know where you are, but if your parents ever get lost, you can ask a cast member to help you find your lost parents. You'll notice at all of the theme parks and even out at Downtown Disney, the Lost Children's section that you would see labeled that way at the mall or at Six Flags is called Lost Parents. Well, that's because the child always knows where they're at. The parents are lost.
Obviously.
So, if you're a parent and you have kids, tell them this. Make sure that you show them the cast member and to look for the name tag. Let them know. Just if you get lost or if I get lost as your parent, go talk to the cast member and they will help join you back up with me.
I love that. That's so good.
It's such a nice way to do it, too. It's a lot more kid-friendly.
Yes.
To approach it from that perspective.
And if you set that up with your child from the first minute you're in the park, it makes it a lot less scary if they actually do end up getting separated. All right. Number 9 applies specifically to Animal Kingdom. So at Disney's Animal Kingdom, you are not allowed to bring in, nor can you purchase a balloon. This is for the animal safety. I think we've talked a little bit about this in the past. But what I have recently learned is if you do have a balloon and you are park hopping to Animal Kingdom, you can stop by guest relations and they will watch your balloon for you. They have like a daycare system set up, and when you pick up your balloon when you leave, they'll hand you a little card that tells you the activities that your balloon engaged in and how they played with other balloons during the day. So it's a really fun little treat to get to take home, and you don't have to worry about getting rid of your balloon just because you've park hopped to a park you can't have it in. So that's a fun little thing.
Number 10, you can ask for a fan at a hotel or extra pillows and blankets.
Or both.
Or both, yes. If you were fighting with Dad because Dad likes to set the thermostat at 72, cannot be any different. So one thing you can do is go on to Amazon or Walmart.com and buy a USB fan and take it with you. They're small enough usually to put in your backpack or your suitcase and plug it into the USB socket right by the bed. That works too. But if you forgot to do that, ask at the front desk, and there's a limited number of fans at all of the hotels, and they'll bring one up to you if it's available.
And contrary-wise, if you want to be a little bit warmer because someone else has turned the thermostat down to 62, which we actually...
I kind of like that.
We turn it down as low as we can because we like the Arctic. But if you are one of those people who is stuck in a room like that where that is not your jam, you can ask for the extra blankets. The cast members want to make you comfortable.
Well, let's talk about some things you can't ask a cast member. These actually have some backstories a lot of times, so...
Most of which you've heard before.
Yeah. So one of the things is you cannot ask for a magic moment or ask to be in the parade or a cavalcade. Like at Magic Kingdom, they pick out a family each morning at rope drop at the park opening, and they become the family of the day. They get to ride on a cavalcade vehicle and be the family of the day, and they get some other perks, but you cannot ask for this. No matter how much you think your kid deserves it, you just can't. Magic moments, too, happen at the discretion of the cast member. Please, 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 don't ask for a magic moment. Meaning, don't ask for, hey, it's my birthday, I should get this meal for free, or I should get moved over to the Grand Floridian from Pop Century. No. There are times when they will do that to be nice. There's times they do that out of necessity. Don't ask. Please, don't ask.
Number 2 that you do not want to ask a cast member. Don't ask a cast member something about a storyline that is not theirs. This includes walking up to Cinderella and saying, hey, why aren't Buzz and Woody over here? She's not going to know who that is. Ask her how Lucifer is doing. Ask her how Bruno's doing. Ask her if she has convinced the prince that she is her, even if she changes her clothes. I think there are things within the story that you can ask a character. And this is going to also include, don't ask a character, hey, what's your real name? Hey, when do you get off tonight, sweetie? Can I get your phone number? All of these things, highly inappropriate. Don't ask them.
Well, and don't go up at studios and talk to Woody or Buzz or Rex now, since he's there, and go, hey, Andy's coming. This was a myth that perpetuated all over the internet years ago, and it does not work. If you want anything that's like that, eat at the barbecue restaurant. And there's a thing that happens inside the restaurant where you hear that Andy's coming and everybody freezes. That's as close as you're going to get. So, yeah, don't do that.
Number 4, please do not ask a cast member to watch your child while you ride a ride. It doesn't matter how old your child is. It doesn't matter if they're an infant, if they are a 6-year-old. They cannot watch your children. It is not daycare. It doesn't matter if it's for Dumbo or if it's for Tower of Terror. They can't watch your children.
Along the same lines, I was working Splash Mountain guest control and walked out on a really quiet morning and found the cast member at the front barn door entrance holding an infant. And I asked, and I said, I hope that's yours. And they said, no, they're riding the ride. I'm like, no. Went in, found them before they got on the ride, explained to them how the child switch works, which is something you can ask for, but you cannot ask cast members to do that. Number 5, don't ask how the magic works in front of kids. Please. Just
in front of anybody.
In front of anybody. I mean, if you walk in and go, hey, is this an elevator inside the Haunted Mansion? The cast members are going to just look at you and go, no.
The room is stretching.
Yeah, and have a magical day. You trust me, you don't want a cast member to tell you that, because that's basically, thank you, you're a moron.
Now, that does also include grown-ups. It's not just going to ruin the magic for kids, it's going to ruin the magic for people like me. As far as I am concerned, there is one Millennium Falcon, there is one Mickey Mouse, there is one Daisy Duck. I don't want to know any different. Don't tell me any different. Right. The end, period. Number 6. How did I get switched to the even numbers? How did that happen?
Yeah, weird.
That's weird.
Disney magic.
Disney magic. Oh my gosh. Number 6. Please do not ask a cast member to change the weather for you. There is no magic dome that they can put up. There is not a switch to control the weather. There is nothing that we can do to control the weather. Obviously, Disney cast members do not control the weather. Pudge does.
Every Thursday, I take Pudge the fish a peanut butter sandwich.
Pudge is a fish.
And today we are out of peanut butter. I'm late because I had to go to the store and get peanut butter because all we have is stinking tuna!
Lilo, why is this so important?
Pudge controls the weather.
So in order to change the weather, you're obviously going to have a peanut butter sandwich. And if you only have tuna fish, I mean, what's going to happen? Come on. So cast members are not magical as much as we love magic. Cast members cannot change the weather. It doesn't matter if you traveled 12 hours. It doesn't matter if you came for one day. It doesn't matter if you came from across the seas. The weather is the weather.
Yeah. And
it's
yes,
probably going to rain.
It has been asked of me specifically. Magic Kingdom. So yeah, it happened. Number 7, please don't ask where is Harry Potter, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Matterhorn. They're not at Disney World, folks. Harry Potter is at Universal Studios. Bugs Bunny is going to be at Six Flags. Matterhorn is at Disneyland. So if you're at Disneyland, you can ask this question. If you're at the Magic Kingdom, please do not ask where the Matterhorn is. It's not there.
Nor was it ever.
And they'll again tell you to have a magical day.
Now, they might guide you over to Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom, which does look a little Matterhorn-esque.
Well,
so if you have a memory in your head, that might be what you're thinking of. They might try that.
I'm pretty sure Betty the Yeti is related to Harold.
I think they have a thing going on.
Yeah, over in the Matterhorn.
I don't know that they're related. I think there's a little thing going on there. That's the rumor anyway. That's the scuttlebutt. Number 8. This is our last one on our list. We are going to ask you, please do not ask to let your child who is too short to ride the ride. You can't give them a tip. You can't put toilet paper in their shoes.
Oh, they can try.
I know.
Of
course they do. But you can't do this. Child height requirements are for the safety of your child. You need to keep your child's safety as number 1, not the fact that you promised them they could ride Space Mountain and they're not tall enough. You can find height requirements in the app. You can find them on the website. You can do this research ahead of time so that you can build up the right things to your kids so that you're not promising them that they can ride something that then they get there and they can't. Do that research ahead of time so that you can say, hey, this time, guess what? You are tall enough to ride this. next time we're going to go on this. So make it a part of the cycle if you go on a regular basis. If it's a one-time thing, then it's a one-time thing and they're going to miss it. But you don't have to make this a sad, tragic thing. You can just build up the things that they can go on.
Yeah, and water rides. If they can't ride Tiana's, they can ride Pirates. Just saying. There are
That's true.
options usually for everything.
Or Frozen.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a whole lot less scary for them anyway. My first memory was being dragged out of Pirate's queue because I was screaming, so... It's my first Disney memory.
Well, folks, that's 10 things you can ask a cast member.
And 8 things you can't.
If we missed any, put them down in the comments. We'd love to hear things that have come to your mind. Or if you're a cast member or ex-cast member, put things down there that you've been asked, because I love those stories.
I do too. Please share.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our theme music composer, Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. Don't forget to rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23. Thanks for joining us today for episode 113 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye.
Thank the Phoenicians.
But what I have recently... Whoa. Big boomies.
Big bada boom. The storm, she is here. I think the thunderstorm is here.
The storm is here.
Oh my.
Yes, don't know if you can hear that, but the storm's here. Okay. Whoa!
We'll just keep going.
Here we go.